Thank you for all coming here today, and I think that this is a very important project for Lunenburg and Nova Scotia, and the launching of it today is hopefully even more important than the launching next Saturday. Who said that? Well, I think it's a great town. This is a magnificent building, and I've been thinking about a project like this for 20 years. It's been rattling around in there, and finally about 3 years ago I put it on paper and I said, if I had to do this, what would I do? And I put everything together, and then about 2 years ago, in one of our bi-monthly phone calls with my sister, who was a resident of Lunenburg, she said, by the way, you know that the academy is going to be empty. We don't know when the school's going to be finished, but very soon the academy will be empty, and everybody's wondering what's going to go in there, and the community has expressed a desire that it remains something to do with education, to do with culture. And I said, well, I just might have an idea. So I said, why don't you send me the plans for the academy, and I'll see how they fit in with my idea of what a postgraduate music school should be. And lo and behold, the plans were perfect. This is a perfect space. It's a perfect town for this project. So we started really working seriously toward making a firm proposal and putting a board together and registering ourselves as a non-profit society and asking for charity status from Ottawa so that we can issue tax receipts, which we'll get to later, how we're going to fund this. So in the end, we have this lovely proposal that we made, and it was accepted, and now we've passed the first hurdle and we have another 150 hurdles to go. We've started. To do a kilometer, you have to do the first meter, and we passed that, and what can I say? It's a postgraduate idea. The people who come here, we're calling them residents, will already have a degree from a music faculty or a conservatory, because in Europe the musicians go to conservatories, they don't go to university, and also Quebec. So one or the other, there'll be 22-year-olds, 23-year-olds. We'll be offering 3 8-week sessions a year, and residents may come to 1 or 2 or 3, up to 2 years, so 6 sessions. We won't have a full-time faculty. There'll be a rotating faculty of internationally renowned musicians, and that's where my experience comes in, my friendships, my contacts that I've made in 40 years of doing this business and my traveling around the world doing so. There'll be a guest resident artist every week bringing his or her special talent or special type of music or special approach to music. It's a serious school. I would say serious other than classic, because the musicians will be classically trained, but we will expose them here to all kinds of world music so that their box grows. When you get out of university, you're a graduate of university, not just in music, but doctors, engineers, most of them have to do a year of internship or 2 years of internship, whatever. Musicians don't have that chance, and we're sort of thrown to the world and do it. This will give people a chance to go beyond their university education, where they're taught the technical skills of playing the violin or the piano or singing. And we hope with this program to instill appreciation for music. Music is a pure art form, and it's not bound by classical boundaries or jazz boundaries. So 1 week there'll be a famous jazz performer, teacher, who will spend the week with the resident students playing with them, daily master classes, and at the end of the week, on Saturday, there'll be a performance. The artist with the resident. So it's not just he's coming to teach, and they do their thing, he does not. They'll be working together, playing together. He will bring special repertoire for the group that we have at that time, adapted to his specialty or her specialty. So 1 week there'll be a jazz artist. Next week there could be a vocal coach who specializes in opera. And the week after there could be a Celtic music specialist. And the week after that a string quartet will come and share their experience as a professional string quartet, then a brass quintet, whatever. So in an 8-week period, they'll have 1 week bombardments of a type of music and a philosophy of music and a style of music, and I think that's very exciting. And the longer they stay, the more chance they'll have to see these extraordinary artists and grow as artists and musicians. The maybe controversial thing about the program is it's full scholarship. They don't have to pay anything to come here. So their room and board is taken care of. Their musical education is taken care of. We know very well that when our students graduate from university, they're burdened with huge debts. There's student loans that they have to pay off. And instead of pursuing what's in their heart as a musician, they start freelancing in Toronto or Montreal. They start just getting out there to pay the bills. And we're hoping by offering a complete scholarship program that will give them that chance to explore the deeper, more philosophical, more from the heart way of doing music. And I know that if I had the chance to do that, I'd still be in a string quartet. Perhaps. I mean, I've had a great life. You know, I've performed all over the world and with some of the greatest artists around, and that's been wonderful, but my dream was to play in a string quartet. And I had a string quartet in university, and we toured, and we went to Europe, and this and that, but the day we got our degree, end of string quartet. We all went our separate ways, and that was a dream that came to an end. As I said, I had a wonderful life. I have trouble sometimes. Italian words come out when I should be saying an English word. No, I don't know what the word is I'm trying to say. Anyway, notwithstanding that I didn't play string quartets, I had a wonderful career as a chamber musician, as an orchestral musician, as a soloist, as a teacher. And I think this would be wonderful to come back to the Maritimes. I was born in Sydney. I grew up in St. John. And it would be an extraordinary, it is an extraordinary project. And I would love to come back and be part of it. And I think this is the right building and the right place to do it. People will ask about money, because it all comes down to money. How can we go on? What's the next step? The next step is finding money. And we want a sustainable project, so we don't want money for 1 year. We're looking for, and have asked for money, at least a 3-year period, renewable in 3-year periods, so that there is a future, and we know it's a stable future. I personally won't come back and run this if we just have funding for 1 year, because I'd be a fool to leave a great job that I have and come hoping that we'll find money for the next 2 years after that. We're talking an operating budget of about $1.6 million a year. We're talking initial capital costs of about $800,000 a year. We need pianos. We need to restructure this. This is not a big cost, but this is a sort of a working theater as it stands. We need a working recital hall. So the wings and things will come up, but that's nothing. The major cost is setting up an audio-visual studio and the 6 grand pianos that are required. Soundproofing and things like that we're going to worry about later until we're in here and we're seeing what kind of acoustic bleeding from one room to the next. But the great thing about this is that there's a boys and girls changing room between all the classrooms. So there's a built-in acoustic barrier. And I know I've been told that between floors there's about 2 meters, no, a meter and a half or something. Incredible space. So we're hoping that acoustic changes won't be necessary, but if they are, we'll do them gradually. To sustain this for a 3-year period, we need $4.6 million. And that will do the start. That includes the startup costs and the 3 first years of operation. It's a lot of money, but it's not. If somebody reaches into their pocket and gives it to us, it's not very much money. If we have to go around and raise $100 at a time, it's impossible. In today's world, when they're talking about billions of cuts to this, billions of cuts to that, I don't know if we really know what $1 million is anymore. $1 million when I was growing up was, wow, now $1 billion isn't even special. But it's $4.6 million for those who want to know about the cost. Why are we here today? We're here today because when we were talking about this project, we knew that at least two major Canadian institutions, companies, thought the project was exciting. And therefore, with that thought, we said, okay, we'll go ahead. If they come through, it's great. So we're here today. At one point, we had hoped that perhaps one of the founding sponsors would be here to join us, but that hasn't happened. But it's going to happen. We're on the right road, I think. And, you know, like every arts program in the world, whether it be an orchestra or a ballet company, it's always money. It comes down to money. We're talking about art. We're talking about, Wendy said, it's our soul, but it always comes down to money, unfortunately. And we can't do anything without money. And as I've said, it's not a lot of money, but it is a lot. So we're working very hard towards that, locally and nationally. And one of these days we'll get to the government. But we'd like to show that we have some money in our pocket first.